The video that we are uploading today is on a dessert pizza, and it was filmed yesterday. It's no big secret on our videos, they're shaky. We don't have, excellent equipment to produce the videos. We're okay with that because it's what we have. I know that some have made clear several suggestions on how to make these things better. But we are using what we have, and we actually tried to implement something different yesterday with a tablet that we have had for some time. We've not shot videos on it. In fact, we used both this camera, which is from 2007, but it still works and it still gets the job done. And our tablet, which is only 2 years old, did not do such a good job, but it had a lot of the footage that I needed. The audio was off. It wasn't a cheap tablet. This was not one of those, $100 tablets. This was actually one we expected to have. It does great pictures, beautiful pictures. We actually got it as a backup for work should anything happen to our computer, and as a Instagram camera that would be easy to upload, but we later figured out how to do Instagram on a computer. But I'm digressing here. At any rate, how we had hoped it would work out, it did not work out well. So we will not try this again, but I had the footage shot and I wanted to go ahead and upload it. It's a really quick, good recipe for dessert. It's enjoyable. Just overlook the audio and the shakiness of some of the footage. And then next time we'll just have our old shaky camera back and all will be good in the UP. So all right, we'll talk later. God bless. So we're making a dessert pizza. It's really simple. I just used a sourdough crust for my sourdough bread recipe. And you do not have to, I do not, but you could put a layer of butter across it. So you can use any fruit you want. I am using a raspberry pie filling. We have used blueberry before. What else have we used, guys? Cherry. We've not used apple. And you simply spread it around. You got your pie filling on, and you make a streusel. I'm going to move my pan here for a minute. The streusel is just real simple. You put a little bit of melted butter. It's a little bit of melted butter. You can use brown sugar, and we've used it before. Brown sugar has molasses in it, and Zebulon does not process molasses well. He has had cyslet intolerance for years, and though it's better, molasses is something he still has a hard time processing. So you've got your butter, a little sugar, just a little flour. You don't need much. And then oats. I like to use whole oats in this. The quick oats, they kind of dissolve, and you're putting this on for kind of a crunch type phase. I'm going to add just a pinch of salt to it too, because my butter had no salt. I want a few more oats. It looks just a little too wet for me. You kind of want this stuff, you don't want it dry, but you don't want it wet either. So, now that you've got your topping made, you just sprinkle it around. And yes, the ideal, if you were really good, and I'm not, you would have soaked your oats the night before. But it takes longer. If you've never made granola with soaked oats, it takes forever to cook. So it just ain't happening with the topping to this pizza. Alright, so while that's cooking, I'm going to make a powder glaze drizzle. I will need to let this cool off a little bit. Kind of like what I like to do actually is put half of the glaze on while the dessert pizza is still hot, and then once it's all but cool, I like to put the other half on. putting it on while it's hot kind of solidifies it into the pie filling and I'm stumbling over my words, and the oatmeal topping. You need to put extra on, or the other half on, after it cools, so that stays on top of your dessert pizza. And the drizzle is real simple. I've got melted butter. I'm going to add some powdered sugar, organic of course. And you want to make this, the key to the term drizzle is because you want to make it thin enough to take your spoon. Obviously I got a fork here, but when you've got it done and it just drizzles off of the spoon.
Oh, tell a story like Roy Underhill.
Oh, let's see. What story could I tell? Oh, I have a story to tell. My birthday is in 2 days. And since I'm working with powdered sugar, I have a story to tell about my dear husband and my oldest child. We lived in an old farmhouse back in 1997. And I think that was the second year we were there. They were going to make me a birthday cake. Well, I was tired that night. So I was just a baby, and he wasn't sleeping well for the first 3 years of his life. But okay, it was 2. But I went and laid down, and so I went and took a nap with me. And I woke up to this hideous smell and smoke rolling throughout. And this was a big old farmhouse. Our bedroom was on the main floor, but it was a big farmhouse, and it was just filled with smoke. And I woke up with my eyes burning and my throat burning, and I went into the kitchen, and Ron and poor little RJ, because RJ wasn't very old at the time, he himself would have been about 7, kind of stood there baffled. They had gotten we had a cellars, and in the cellars I had all my jars of flour and powdered sugars and baking sodas, and
all unmarked.
All unmarked, yes, of course. They were all unmarked.
Because you knew which ones were which.
Ron doesn't cook. Okay, he doesn't cook. He does a lot of things, but cooking is not one of the things he shares in our life with me. Just like I don't share in the wood hauling. So it's a tit for tat situation. But I figured he could make a cake. He can follow instructions. Okay, we need to definitely, if you've got vanilla, put some vanilla in this. Vanilla just makes it. It's like the sweet side of paprika. You can never have enough. When I went in there, he had the baffled look on his face, and I'm like, well, what are you doing? And he had an explosion in the wood stove. Had a wood stove back then, though we didn't use it year round. We used it a lot. And was it the wood stove?
I don't remember if it was the wood stove or not.
Don't look at me. I wasn't around then.
That's right. He had mistaken the powdered sugar for flour. And so when the recipe called for however many cups, 2 cups, 3 cups of flour, he had put 2 cups, 3 cups of powdered sugar in. And powdered sugar, I was unbeknownst to myself and him, it expands and oozes under heat conditions. So it was interesting.
That's what happens when you're a consumer of food and not a...
He since has learned, and every cake since has turned out successfully. So this year, Zebulon and Simeon are going to make the cake, aren't you? Is that my understanding?
You don't let us use eggs a lot, so we want to make a crazy cake.
Crazy cake. Okay, so see how that just drizzles off the spoon? And that's all it is to the glaze. So this is all baked. The top is nice and crunchy. The crust is nice and brown. See if I can get down in there. And I will put the first drizzle on. I lost my cameraman, so I'm going to put the first drizzle on by myself. And because the pizza is still hot, like I said, this will solidify. The first drizzle will solidify. It's good for this. So we'll let it cool for a minute and put more on. All right, so the final drizzle. You can, even if you don't want to do it on this, you can do it per individual pieces. So that if you want less drizzle or more drizzle, that would work. This part is crunchy. The crust is a nice golden brown. And then the pie filling, of course, is just pie filling. Ready? Come here, please.
Yeah. All right.
Real simple dessert, sourdough crust or regular crust, pie filling, oatmeal topping, and a drizzle. And you got a lot of happy campers. Hey, we'll talk soon. God bless.